Okay, so next section is 8.5. We're going to be adding and subtracting these expressions instead of multiplying and dividing. It's a little more complicated, all right? So the first thing we're going to look at is like how do we find the least common multiple, because we're going to need to make common denominators in order to add fractions, okay? So I've got 4 terms on the board, and we're looking at what's the least common multiple of these 4 terms, and that will allow us to find the least common denominator when we have to deal with this. So the best way to approach this is just look at each of these terms in like a factored form. So for example, 3x is really 3 times x. 6 is really 3 times 2. 12, if you think about the prime factorization of 12, it's 4 times 3, right? But 4 is really 2 times 2. So it's kind of like 3 times 4, or 2 times 3 times 2 times 2 times x, or x squared. So really this one is more like 3 times 2 squared times x squared. And then 18 is 2 times 9, or 3 times 3, which is 9, times 2, or 3 squared times 2. So the least common multiple, it's going to be, you need to use every unique factor that was used in all the terms, along with the greatest power of each factor. So what I mean by that is, in the first example, we have a 3, and then we have another 3, and then we have another 3, okay? So it's looking like 3 is definitely part of the least common multiple, but we go to the last one, we actually have 3 squared, okay? So since the exponent of 2 in this case is the largest power or exponent of the factor 3, 3 squared, which is 9, is definitely part of the least common multiple, okay? And then we look at other things, right? So let's look at the 2's, right? So we have 2 to the first, and then over here we have 2 squared, and then over here we have 2 to the first, right? So 2 squared is the largest power of 2, so that's definitely part of the least common multiple, 2 squared. And then we go one more time and look at, what's the other factor? X, right? So we've got an x to the first, no x in the second term, but then we have an x squared, and no x in the third term. So out of the 2 x's we just looked at, x squared is the largest power, so we have to use that one. So in this case, this is the least common multiple, or if we looked at it, 9 times 4 times x squared, okay? Making it 36, right? X squared. So we're looking for the smallest, so that 36x squared right now. This is the smallest term that all 3 of these will divide into evenly, okay? 18 will divide into 36x squared. 18 is a factor of 36x squared. 12x squared, 12 is a factor of 36, x squared is a factor of x squared. 6, or this one, is a factor of 36. 3x is a factor of 36x squared, okay? Some people get tricked and they think it's 18. They think the least common multiple is 18x squared, but 12 does not divide evenly into 18. 12 itself is not a factor of 18. So 36x squared is our least common multiple, right? So that's how we kind of want to look at least common multiples when we have to deal with those types of questions.